First Division newcomers Oldham are tonight's big league host. They're up against a Bradford side with a determined quest to convert their success of last season into silverware for the sideboard. Bradford may lead tonight's invasion, but nearly 2,000 years ago, Oldham had a different type of visitor altogether. The Romans built a fortress here at nearby Castle Shore, from which they made their own preparations to do battle. Modern-day gladiators come from much further afield. Oldham made one of the biggest midsummer signings in Australian Test forward Bob Lidner.
Lidner goes down to the Blues 20-metre line.
News of a knee injury has clouded the excitement of Lidner's arrival last Wednesday, but he's been named in the squad, and the Oldham camp can't wait to see him in his new colours. Oldham went down in their opening encounter to high-flying Halifax, but they do have the flair to score exciting rugby league tries, like this one by Nigel Heslop. Despite the loss, coach Peter Tunks won't be changing much for this week's game.
We do approach it a little bit differently than we would have done last week for Halifax, but you know, what we're looking at this stage is trying to concentrate on our own game. We're probably not that advanced that we can worry too much about the opposition. We just think that if we can get our own house in order, that we'll be competitive and we might be able to spring an upset.
Bradford have dipped deeply into the transfer market and come up with a club record signing, Paul Newlove from Featherstone. Newlove was quick to prove his worth in Bradford's 32-18 win against Widnes. He scored one try. And he set up another for winger Bremer Kebby. The Boars led the way in the early stages last season, and if they're able to reproduce the form that took them to third place in the Championship, then Peter Fox's Cubs will be serious title contenders.
On the run, supported there from Sutton. Inside to McGowan. Hat-trick for McGowan.
Since it's all come together with signing Paul Newlove and Paul Dixon, with the previous signings of Watson and Kebby and even Roy Powell before that with David Hurren, and people like that, it's brought us a squad of players together that really are able to challenge anybody now and probably win a trophy. But then the players have got to now produce it on the field of play.
And now to guide us through the evening's entertainment, including local hero and the big league crossword, it's over to our hosts, Eddie and Steve-O.
Well, the big league season got off to a rip-roaring start just 7 days ago. There's been plenty to talk about over the past week. How will Wigan settle under their new coach, John Dorahy? Will we see a real challenge from the east side of the Pennines to their domination? And how on earth will St Helens bounce back after their defeat against Hull Kingston Rovers on the opening day? Now, tonight we'll assess the chances of Bradford Northern. Bradford, they finished third last season. They were Yorkshire's top dogs. They've spent heavily during the summer to try and mount a serious title challenge. And we'll also know a bit more tonight about the way Oldham might shape over the coming winter. Oldham straight back from the second division, of course, just last season. Well, here watching, as ever with me, is the former Great Britain international Mike Stevenson. And Steve-O, I think we have plenty here tonight to keep us well entertained.
Yeah, some great stars on display tonight, but I think probably one of the best players in the world at the moment. I think it's one of the best signings that Bradford have ever done. Paul Newlove, I feel, we haven't seen the best from this kid. He really has got the talent, and I think it will come out more playing in the Bradford colours this season. Of course, they've got Dixon also. Over the past 2 or 3 years, Peter Fox, in the last 18 months since he went to Bradford, has started building up very nicely indeed. He brought Derek Fox and, of course, Fox in combination with Newlove, both who played at Featherstone. I think that could be a real good key. And it wouldn't surprise me if a bit of silverware came Bradford's way this year.
It's a big rap for Bradford, a big rap too for Paul Newlove. £240,000, almost £250,000, the third highest transfer fee in history. He's only 22. Can he put that behind him?
I think he can. He's a very talented player, pretty level-headed as well. I think that over the years he's been playing for Great Britain. He knows the pressure. He's been on the tour. He understands that that the pressure will build upon him. And, of course, they'll expect so much from him. I think that he's capable of doing that. He's a very strong player. Whereas Oldham, I think they may struggle a little bit, not because they haven't got the stars, because I think Peter Tunks has, has wheeled and dealed in the summer to bring 10 new players to the Oldham side. And I think that's going to be a disadvantage, especially in the early part of the season, because it's going to take them quite some time to get into the swing of things, especially now we've got the new rugby union players as well. I'm looking forward to seeing both of them.
Should be a great game. And Oldham, as Mike hinted there, they are intent really on maintaining their place in the big league. That's their realistic target for this season, just staying in the First Division. And they have spent heavily during the summer too. They've recruited from Australia, arguably one of the top forwards in the world in Bob Lindner. And Lindner and his family, they arrived in Oldham this week. And Lindner admitted to me that Peter Tunks, another former Australian Test star, of course, he had played a big part in tempting Lindner over here to the Watersheddings.
I've had a relationship with Tunksy over the years, and I've got a deal of respect for his knowledge of the game, and that's how it all come about. We just started to chat there a few years back, and things developed, and I was very happy with the way it's all happened.
Of course, you were so close, we heard, to coming over to Leeds last season, and then that all went sour on you. You finally got here, though.
That's right. Obviously, I've had in my mind an intention to come over to the UK and play for a few years now. The Leeds thing was disappointing for me, the way it was handled, but like I said, it's dead and buried now. I managed to finish off a great career in Australia with a good season with Illawarra, and now looking for a good season with Oldham.
Well, Lindner arrived from Australia with a knee injury on Wednesday. Sadly, time has run out on him. I'm afraid he misses tonight's match against Bradford Northern. That's a bit of a blow for Oldham, but still there are plenty of household names on show out there tonight, and as far as Oldham are concerned, well, they are absolutely delighted that they are back in the big league.
It's a lot faster, and you know, our team's got to learn to not make mistakes that we've done last year that we're not going to get away with. So, you know, it's a learning process for us. You know, once we find our feet, we'll be all right.
We've had a lot of ability at Bradford for a number of years. It's just getting the players to believe in themselves and doing it consistently. We've lost more points in the league to teams that finish below us in the league, and I'm afraid if we want to be winners, we can't keep doing that.
I'm very pleased to be at Oldham. Obviously, with Peter, he's trying to put a team together that's going to be competitive, just not stay up, but compete in the competition as well as all the cup games. I'm really excited about it.
Do you think Oldham can do that as a club?
Oh, I think so. I don't think it's going to be a matter of Oldham just surviving this year. I think they're going to be competing in everything they do. You can obviously see by the players that Peter has brought in that is the intention to compete in everything we can.
It's going to be a long hard season. Everybody's tipping Wigan for the championship again, but if we can pull one over Wigan, beat them twice, hopefully we can do things at the back end. It's going to come to the back end of the season this time. It's going to be a close call, closer than last year, I think.
You think it'll be even closer than last year when it was points difference?
I think so, yes. I think there's a lot more clubs now. They've got a lot more strength in depth. Leeds have done really well. They bought Richie Ayres and a couple of good signings. Halifax have strengthened, so it's looking good for this side of the Pennines. So let's hope we've got a good, strong challenge from Yorkshire.
Being a Sky game, and you get a bit bigger crowd, and the night, you know, being a night match as well, you tend to being on a Friday as well, you tend to, you know, it upsets your preparation a bit towards like a normal Sunday afternoon game. But no, you know, Bradford's just another team. There's other teams like Wigan and that you play week in and week out, so it's just another game.
I think Peter's, you know, a major influence in me coming here, and also the squad of players that he's got here. He's got, you know, a good experienced squad, and I think, you know, I wouldn't have come if I didn't think Bradford could push for honours.
Well, a lot of people think that. You're favourites in many people's eyes to lead Yorkshire's challenge.
Yeah, but I think that's a bit unfair, really, because, like, if you look at Leeds' team on paper, they're still a great side, and Castleford and even Featherstone now, so I think it's very even, the Yorkshire contingent, but, you know, we're hoping to do our best, and we'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the season.
Paul Dixon, former Great Britain international, now firmly in the colours of Bradford Northern. Now, one of the features of the Friday Night Big League this season, which has really pleased many of you to see on the screens, has been the local hero, and we've got one of those coming up for you next, along with a first clue in the Big League crossword, where we ask you, just for fun, to fill in the crossword as the evening progresses. But this week's local hero is Bernard Ganley. He is still the club's record goals and points scorer after a glittering Oldham career in the 1950s. We meet the local hero after these.
Seize the day. You're watching Sky Sports. England's World Cup campaign has been a roller coaster ride of elation and disappointment.
It just gets better and better for England.
Wigan cleared up well on an 8.
Can we still qualify?
Oh, yes, I mean, we can still qualify.
Now it's crunch time. With 3 matches to go, there's nothing more to be said. England must beat Poland in their last home game. Watch the whole match exclusively live Wednesday evening at 7 on Sky Sports.
It's the final whistle.
This is the original Colour Magic car polish from Turtle Wax, rated #1 by Auto Trade magazine. It's colour enriched to blend with your car's colour. When you polish, minor scratches disappear like magic. Just pick the colour closest to your car's finish and see how Colour Magic blends in to enhance the true colour and polish off those imperfections. One easy application leaves a brilliant deep gloss shine that can last up to 12 months. The original Turtle Wax Colour Magic. Seeing is believing.
Arrived one morning with this leg full of creases. I said, call that a leg? You're joking. Come on, Mum. If I'm going to play football, I need a leg that's decent. She prescribed exercise, a diet that's wise, and a bit of diddly-dum. And she went, diddly-bum, diddly-bum, a dido, bye, diddly-yum-a-dum, working on your bits. I die, diddly, I dubba, dibba, dido, whoops, diddly-bum, a dum, a Heinz Bill spritz. Oh, diddly-bum, a diddly-bum, a diddly-bum, a diddly-bum, a diddly-bum, a diddly-bum, working on your bits. Dee-dum, diddly-dum, dee-bum, dee-dido, whoop, diddly-whoop-whoop. Now that is what I call a leg. Heinz Bill spritz.
Now, here's something to whet your appetite. It's a cocktail of hits. First, stir in some of the greatest disco favorites from the 70s. Then add some hits like High Energy. Then blend in hits by the disco superstars like Gloria Gaynor, Billy Ocean, the Gibson Brothers, the 3 Degrees, John Travolta, and many, many more. Now take a pinch of soul. And finally, top it up with classic hits like this. And here it is, a cocktail of hits. 50 all-time disco and soul hits on 3 compact discs or 3 cassettes for just $29.99. Unbelievable value, and that even includes delivery to your door. Simply call this number now with your credit card details. And now for the big surprise. When you order your cocktail of hits, we'll give you 3 more CDs or cassettes with another 50 great disco and soul hits absolutely free. You better believe it. Call now for your cocktail of hits and get 3 more CDs or cassettes absolutely free.
Luckily. Luckily. Grudgingly. Sick as a parrotly. Famously smooth. Tetley.
In 1989, Sky News changed the face of television news in Britain. Now, the award-winning 24-hour news service has itself changed. In the challenge to bring you the fastest and best possible news service, change is essential. Experience is vital. If you haven't considered a news service that is there when you need it, 24 hours a day, change to the new look Sky News.
Seize the day.
When people talk of great goal kickers today, the names of Botica and Davis are sure to arise. But in the 1950s, it was Bernard Ganley of Oldham who was the maestro kicker. Ganley was the first man in rugby league history to kick 200 goals in a season between 57 and 58. And the season before, he'd lifted the championship trophy for Oldham, the last time the Roughheads had reached those heights.
Oh, I remember very well indeed. That was at Bradford against Hull, and it was a tremendous finish because we actually won it by 1 point. I think it was 15-14, and Hull missed a shot at goal 8 minutes from time just to the side of the post. It was impossible almost to miss it, but they did. I had a very good run at Oldham because I played mainly with a good side. And in order to break records like that, you've got to play with a good side, because a good side spends more time in the opponent's half, which gives you a lot of chance to kick successfully, because of course you don't kick many goals out of your own half.
With kicking of Ganley's calibre, he couldn't be ignored on the international scene either. 3 appearances for Great Britain, all against France, and in one of those games he kicked 10 goals. So what was the secret of the goal-kicking machine?
I didn't have a lot of fuss. I did it without a lot of fuss. I didn't actually dig a hole unless I had to. If I could lie it on the top of the grass and let the grass hold it up, that would be sufficient for me, because I always kick the ball standing up.
While Bernard still likes to keep fit in his gym at home in Great Budworth outside Warrington, his job as a chartered accountant means he's carried on where he left off. Whereas now he's adding up numbers, before he was more used to adding up goals and, of course, trophies.
Bernard Ganley, our local hero for this week, a local hero in these parts, no doubt about it, and another one for you on Friday night's Big League in 7 days' time. Right, Bernard Ganley's the local hero from days gone by. What about the current local heroes? Let's check out the team lineups for you tonight on the Big League. Beginning with Oldham, and it's all changed for Oldham after their defeat at Halifax on the opening day. Paul Topping moves from the centre, and he is the full-back. David Jones, the former Wakefield Trinity winger, makes his Oldham debut on the wing in 2. Darren Abram played at standoff last week. He's moved to the centre, and he will wear 3. And big Charlie McAllister will bolster and strengthen the centres for Oldham. Look out for McAllister, he will wear 4. And the former England Rugby Union star Nigel Heslop maintains his place on the wing in 5. Martin Strett is the former Orrell Rugby Union star. He's at standoff. Alongside Wally Gibson, the Australian who began at fullback last weekend, but who is now the Oldham playmaker. Tiny Solomona did so well for New Zealand in the summer series against Australia. He's the Oldham prop forward at 8. And Paul Groves was a summer signing from St Helens. He's the hooker in 9. The front row is completed by the man who began his career at Bradford. He had 5 years there, Ian Sherratt. The second row sees Oldham's 2 A-team coaches teaming up. First, a man who began his career here at Oldham before moving on to Wigan, where he won every honour in the game. That's Andy Goodway. And Shane Tapia is the Kiwi who is alongside Goodway. Tapia is in 12. And the Oldham lineup completed by the club captain, Kiwi Mike Kuiti, signed from Rochdale in the summer. He led the Hornets last season too. And the coach here at Watersheddings is the Australian Peter Tunks. It's a lovely evening for Rugby League football, and Bradford Northern, of course, provide the opposition. Now, the Bradford coach, Peter Fox, has decided to give all his players a game in the opening 2 fixtures to try and prove their worth. Next weekend, he says, places will be decided on form. So, there are 3 changes from the side which beat Widnes last Sunday, but David Watson maintains his place at fullback. Gerald Cordell plays his first game since breaking his jaw while playing for Wales against England last November. And Steve McGowan takes over from Darryl Shelford in the centre. But the club's record signing, Paul Newlove, is not one of the changes at nearly £250,000. He continues and will wear 4. And Roger Simpson gets a chance on the wing. Out goes Bree McKebby, despite scoring a try last Sunday. Simpson in 5. Half-back partnership remains undisturbed. Neil Summers plays standoff. He had a fine season as Bradford finished 92-93 in 3rd place. And there's hope that he and Derek Fox will form a formidable combination. Fox, another big money buy 12 months ago, is the scrum half. The veteran David Hobbs just keeps on going, and he's in the front row at 8. And alongside another of the game's elder statesmen, Brian Noble, who is the second change, taking over at hooker from the Kiwi Trevor Clark. Front row is completed by John Hamer. He comes off the bench last week. He swaps roles with Roy Powell. The second row is unchanged. It's the 2 Pauls. First, Paul Medley, one of the game's most prolific try-scoring forwards. 2 touchdowns last weekend against Widnes. And Paul Dixon is the £70,000 signing from Leeds during the summer. And the lineup completed by The evergreen David Heron, despite his 35 years, he missed just 2 of Northern's 40-match programme last season. And the coach, of course, the mercurial Peter Fox. Now then, which of those players has Steve-O chosen as the possible game buster tonight? Let's check it out now. Steve-O's game buster.
The skills of Derek Fox are well documented. In simple terms, when Fox takes control, then Bradford fire on all cylinders. A master tactician who reads the game well and has the uncanny ability of drawing the defensive line out of position. But it's his kicking game that could well swing the match Bradford's way. Fox may be small in stature, but he packs a huge wallop when it comes down to kicking pressure goals. And this could prove the difference tonight.
Derek Fox, he really is a game breaker, isn't he? No doubt about that. He's done it for Great Britain. Can he do it for Bradford Northern tonight? And he's up against Wally Gibson, Steve-O, the man that Tunksy's brought in from Oldham to do a job for him. From Huddersfield, rather, to do the job for him.
I think so. I mean, Gibson's more famous for playing in the full-back role, but I think Tunks probably has brought him up here to try to just blot out Derek Fox, because he is a skillful player. As I mentioned there, if Fox takes control, then I'm afraid that Oldham could be in for a very bad night of it. But Oldham are a very, very good side. It all depends, I suppose, many ways, in how the forwards make up to it, because if the forwards don't give them that springboard towards a success, I'm afraid the half-backs can't do it. But I do feel that that's the reason that Tunks has brought in Gibson to try to just block out Fox.
1 or 2 old hands again in that Bradford Northern pack, aren't there? They flinch when they're called Dad's Army, but if you look at the front row, they are quite old, aren't they? With the exception, I suppose, of John Hamer, who's 27. But you've got David Hobbs, 34, and Ryan Noble, 32. Long in the tooth.
Well, most of the pack is over 30, but Peter Fox is very, very happy with the fact that he's got experience in there. And let's face it, last season, that experience, the Dad's Army, as we wanted to call them, they really did take the rugby league apart in the first part of last season. Now, if they can get off to the same start, I think with the addition now of Dixon to add a little bit more weight out wide, because he's a pretty strong runner, and if you put that on with Paul Newlove, talented player, as I mentioned, I think Paul Newlove will just add that extra dimension that Bradford were missing last season, and I think we'll find it this year.
What about Oldham? As we've said earlier on, so many new players. I think it's a complete turnover in the playing personnel from the side that got them out of the second division. Will it take them time to gel? Will it take time to settle it all down?
Without a doubt. There's got the talent there, and I'm sure that their coach, Peter Tunks, realised that. I can remember when they drew with Dewsbury and then lost the replay in the Premiership playoffs in the second division. There was a lot of tut-in, and perhaps Tunks' job was well and truly on the line, so he had to do something. And quite frankly, without a lot of money, apart from the fact of bringing Bob Linder, which would have cost quite a lot of pounds and shillings, I would imagine. But the fact is that he's done a very good job without spending a lot of money. But he's got the talent. It'll take a while, but I think it'll be a little bit fiery as well. I think a few of these Oldham forwards have a lot to prove.
And they know, of course, their place may be on the line with Lindner, hopefully coming into the side next weekend. Right, let's look back over the years. The head-to-head between these two sides. Over the past 20 seasons, they've played 20 times. In fairness, Oldham have been in the second division for 9 of those 20 seasons, but they have a fair old record against Bradford in the first division. They hold the upper hand 11-9 in terms of victories. So the Yorkshiremen, who finished third, might have it all to do tonight. Oldham, I know, having been here at training last night, are dead keen to get their home programme off to a winning start. It's a lovely evening for rugby league, absolutely still. It's always a bit chilly in this part of the world, though. And, well, it's Oldham against Bradford Northern. We have the whole match coming up for you next.
Seize the day.
You're watching Sky Sports.
Throughout the day, your clothes pick up all sorts of dirt and odours. Ordinary big bottle liquids only get out ordinary dirt and can fade colours. New Radion Colour has a bleach-free cleaning system that tackles tough stains and odours without fading colours, giving a fresh, bright clean. Get more out Put new Radion colour in.
Now, I got a call from Nick the Greek. He was having a bit of a bash. He said he needed loads of plates for all his guests to smash. I said, come with me, me old China. So I took him down my showroom. I said, these should suit your needs. If the price is right, they're yours tonight. I was laughing all the way to the Leeds. That's going straight into liquid gold. With liquid gold, they give you such high interest rates. The more you save, the more you earn. Just handed on a plate. And they dish it out quick, too. Now, back at old Nick's party, it wasn't quite like Greece. The crockery was a mockery. It all stayed in one piece. Yours truly wasn't very popular. I said, Nick, look on the bright side. Son, you've not been done. You can use them for another bash. 2 for the price of 1.
Liquid Gold pays higher rates for bigger savers, so laugh all the way to the Leeds.
Who could forget the classic love theme from Gone with the Wind? Who wouldn't respond to the passion of Unchained Melody? Now Teledisc presents Take My Breath Away. 50 magnificent love themes, all performed by the world-famous Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Share the true romance of timeless screen epics. Relive the magic of music from the stage. Capture the heart-rending love themes of today. Experience again and again 50 breathtaking melodies specially recorded for you by Teledisc. And remember, this extraordinary collection is not available in any shops. Take My Breath Away, a world of romantic dreams on 4 cassettes or 4 compact discs. To get your copy of Take My Breath Away, simply call Teledisc on this number now. Take My Breath Away, a collection to be proud of. From Teledisc, the name you can trust.
In years to come, people will ask, where were you the night Lewis fought Bruno? Lennox Lewis, WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Frank Bruno, the #1 contender. On October the 1st, the time for talking will be over. The question must be answered. Become a part of sports history as it happens. Lewis Bruno live only on Sky Sports.
Seize the day.
Well, he's arrived in Oldham, and just to prove it, he's here. Bob Lidner, the former Australian Test star, saying good evening to all the Oldham supporters who have packed into the Watersheddings ground, and no doubt we're hoping to see Lidner in the red and white of Oldham tonight, but they have to be content with waiting for about 7 days or so. Let's take a check on the weather, and this is a very cold ground, the Watersheddings. The wind moderate to light, the temperature falling to 7 degrees centigrade. It's mostly dry with sunny breaks, we hope. And so the conditions, despite the fact that it is very, very chilly up here for this time of year, absolutely perfect for rugby league, and a marvellous pitch for these two sides to display their skills upon. Let's just recap on the Oldham team for you. Topping at full-back, he will kick the goals. Jones, Abram, McAllister and Heslop. Stretton, Gibson, Solomona, Groves, Sherratt, Goodway, Tupaya and Mike Kuiti, who is the captain. Bradford Northern in a very natty change strip for this season when they play away from Odsal. Have Watson at fullback, Caudle, McGowan, Newlove and Simpson, Summers and Fox the captain, Hobbs, Noble, Hamer, Medley, Dixon and Heron. Let's check the substitutes for you. David Bradbury and Craig Richards, the former Bradford Northern forward, on the bench for Oldham, while Bradford have Tony Marchant and Roy Powell. Two Great Britain internationals on the bench there for Bradford Northern. The match referee laying the law down to the captain Mike Kuwaiti and his opposite number Derek Fox, Ian Ollerton from Wigan. So formalities just about complete. It looks like Bradford Northern will change ends and will get this game underway. And believe me, here at Watersheddings there's a heck of a slope running from left to right as we watch from this side of the field, which is the direction that Bradford Northern will be attacking in the first half. And Steve-O, that can cause players quite a few problems.
Well, Oldham, of course, will understand it more than Bradford, but I'm sure that the man who's about to get this game underway will certainly use that slope to his advantage. Derek Fox, a master at the kicking game.
So we're underway here at Watersheddings, and Paul Groves is in at dummy half for Oldham, and this is Nigel Heslop. Heslop, the former England rugby union winger. And Tiny Solomona taking over, and Solomona being impeded as he tried to regain his feet.
Well, they just won't learn, will they? Obvious there, it was Dixon, the new signing from Leeds. There's David Hobbs in the picture. He was also involved in holding the man down. They really just don't understand, do they? They try, with the referee of the experience of Ian Ollerton, he wasn't going to be kidded on that occasion.
So first penalty of the match goes Oldham's way. Paul Groves will restart, and Ian Ollerton is forcing Bradford Northern back, well, a good, I would say, 13 yards, never mind 10. This is David Jones, the Lancashire lad from Wigan St Patrick's, who was playing his rugby league for Wakefield Trinity in Yorkshire until Oldham signed him. Now Solomona, who had such a great series against the Aussies for the Kiwis this summer. Gibson, and the runner there is the second row forward, Tupaia with the head guard, and Bradford Northern have to call three in to bring him down. This is a good start for the home side. Gibson spreads it wide. Stretch to Paul Topping, the fullback. Good tackling by Medley, helped out a bit by Newlove. Groves is the dummy half. Gibson changes the direction of this attack and is eventually brought down by the prop forwards, Hamer and Hobbs. Last tackle. And that is how close Oldham are. Drop goal attempt from Groves. It bounces back off the bar, and I think they're in with Gibson. No, the referee has wiped it out. Gibson looks distraught and unhappy, but no try.
Well, what a great start to Wally Gibson in this game. Good thinking by the hooker, Paul Groves. It ricocheted off the crossbar, and Gibson was there on hand, and that was just unfortunate. He couldn't force it through. Good play by David Watson. You'll see him get underneath. Referee in a good position also.
I think the referee in Ollerton has ruled that he dropped the ball as he went to place it, but that would have been a real start for Oldham. It's no try, it's 0-0. And again, another penalty, this time against Solomona for holding down John Hamer in the tackle.
Well, tit for tat. Got a little bit of workout as well in the process. A little bit of a facial there was given by Solomona. Had a great series against Australia.
This is John Hamer. Underrated member of this Bradford Northern pack is Hamer. 27 years old, sub against Widnes last week. Now Derek Fox finds Paul Medley. Opened his try-scoring account with 2 against Widnes last Sunday, did Medley. Noble's the dummy half to Heron. This is McGowan. McGowan drops the ball. Oldham have it back courtesy of Solomona.
Bradford got caught there, trying to bring the ball back inside on the second occasion.
So Oldham, the side newly promoted from the second division, can start again. Here's Gibson. Turns the ball back inside neatly to Andy Goodway. Goodway had a season at Leeds after winning just about every honour that the game has to offer during his Wigan career. Kuwaiti, the captain, looked to touch forward that, and the referee Ollerton agrees with me.
It was right in line, no doubt about it. Captain Mike Kuwaiti just trying to delay that pass. So vital. It creates the gap if he can get away with it.
Now here's Neil Summers. Had a superb season for Bradford Northern in 92-93. John Hamer now on the charge. Turning, looking for the support. But Solomona and also Tapia, they had wrapped him up. This is Fox. Noble now. Clattered to the floor. Solomona and Grove. Solomona getting through a lot of work early doors. This is Hobbs. Spreads the play wide. Invites Paul Dixon to have a run. He offloads to Hobbs. Hobbs in turn gives it to Hamer. Hamer tries to get it through the gap to Derek Fox, but decided in the end to hang on. Watson, the dummy half. On his own, the Kiwi. Nowhere to go, really. And, well, that looked as though it bounced off the arm of McGowan. Referee has a quick look at the touch judge and calls the knock on.
Watson desperately trying to get the ball away there, no doubt about it. McGowan just had a touch to it. But really, Bradford, they're becoming their worst enemy so far. Trying to keep this ball alive down the middle. That's obviously the tactics from their coach, Peter Fox.
Offside called against Bradford Northern at that scrum.
There you can see, offside, they moved away from the 5. They've got to be back.
Nice run around with David Jones. Groves always the man at dummy half when he is available. Goodway standing and turning, giving it to Groves, who gives it to Topping, the full-back. Tapia to big Charlie McAllister. McAllister, number 4 in his second spell here at Oldham. Big favourite on the terraces. Now it's Martin Strett. He's put on about a stone, apparently, in the gym during the summer to try and beef himself up for rugby league. This is Kuwaiti. Kuwaiti to Goodway. Goodway looking lively. Topping. And Solomona. Solomona twisting and turning. Gibson. Oldham looking lively here. The ball dabbed forward by Kuwaiti. Dropped on by the Northern player Heron, but knock on.
A loose forward, Heron just getting the fingertips to it. But this is a good opening spell by Oldham. They really are applying the pressure. And I'm afraid that Bradford are missing quite a few tackles.
Here come Oldham again for another set of 6. Paul Topping taking play into the 20-metre zone for Oldham. Groves and Gibson working well. This is Strett using that strength I was telling you about to brush McGowan off first time, but couldn't get away from Medley. Groves again, Kuwaiti, and that's a good ball to McAllister, and good tackling by McGowan to keep him out. Ball has come free. Referee says play on. Gibson invites Solomona to run. Solomona does run and is hauled down by 3. So close Oldham again. Gibson once more. Not the best pass, but made brilliant by Topping. Ball out wide. Is that a try? No, referee says pull the pass. Oldham have had 2 efforts wiped out here. Jones with the second one.
How unlucky can you be? It was Abram that got the ball out wide. David Jones went in at the corner, second grab at it. Looked for the glory. It wasn't to be. It was just forward. They really are putting Bradford on the rack.
Great start, Mike, by the lads straight up out of the second division, this.
Well, we said before the game, Eddie, that there would be a lot of problems with 10 new members into the side, that it would be Bradford that would probably hold the keen team spirit and knowledge but it hasn't worked out that way in the opening 8 minutes.
Long kick downfield, bounces kindly for Topping, who applies the brakes, collects and tries to go round Summers, but Summers has him by the shirt tails, and Fox comes in to finish him off. Oldham lost only 3 second division games at home last season as they regained their place in the big league, but they lost at home in cup football to Castleford in the Regal Trophy and Bradford Northern, perhaps significantly, in the Challenge Cup.
Well, I also mentioned before the game that Wally Gibson would have been moved up from full-back position to mark Derek Fox, to perhaps blot him out of the game, but it's been the other way around. Gibson really is on fire.
This is Kuwaiti. Strong challenge from Paul Medley. It's the last tackle for Oldham in this set of 6. It's now with Gibson, back to Topping. Topping will do the kicking. Goodway has gone way downtown. He'll have to give Watson 10 metres, and he does. Referee says play on. Approaching 10 minutes on the clock, 0-0. Referee's whistle has sounded. It's a penalty to Bradford Northern.
Well, little doubt about it. There you can see John Hamer. He pushed him to the ground. He must stand in front. He should have just allowed him to play the ball forward.
So Bradford now will restart with Noble to Hobbs. Good scrambling defence this by Oldham. They're not giving Bradford an inch at the moment.
They're moving up as one line, as you can see there. They're not allowing them to take control.
Tremendous tackling by Solomona and Shane Tapia. Fox takes that one above his head, looks round, there's few options open to him.
Well, you can see quite clearly that the defence out wide from Oldham allowed Fox nowhere to go.
That's a lovely chip over the top, though, by Hobbs. He's invited Gerald Caudle to have a chase, and Topping comes across bravely. And what's more, he has ruled Caudle was in an offside position as that ball was kicked, and so he couldn't close the full-back down, which is exactly what he did.
Well, also, he didn't allow him the 10 metres either. So he was in front. So there's the man that has been penalised. But it was a good kick. The tactics were there. That really is the first time that we've seen Bradford apply any sort of pressure towards Oldham.
That's Nigel Heslop, and David Heron takes a tumble. Now then Sherratt, the big prop forward, and Ian Sherratt will want to play well tonight. He began his career at Bradford, spent 5 years there, played 68 games. Gibson, lovely ball in field to Solomona. An encouraging start this is by Oldham. Strett to Kuwaiti, through one, through two, now invites Heslop to run, and Heslop grounded by David Heron eventually. Heslop broke his jaw, restricted to only 3 matches last season. Charlie McAllister. Last tackle. It's been all Oldham in the opening 12 minutes. This is Tapia. And no way through for Tapia. So that's on the 6th tackle. That is the turnover. Bradford immediately get the ball back.
Well, that shows the confidence, doesn't it? Didn't want to go for the kick at all. They just want to run at this Bradford Northern defence that at the moment is in panic stations. Oldham really are slinging together some wonderful passing movements. That shows you how slow this Bradford defence is in coming up towards them. 3 and 4 men are touching the ball for Oldham before any defence gets to them.
That's a nice little jink by David Watson. Peter Fox certainly stepped in last season and rescued Watson's career. And he's paid him handsome dividends. This is Fox. Forward pass, though, from David Hobbs.
Not happy with it. Looked all right from my angle, but I'm not the man with a whistle. Planned move. The experience there of Hobbs bringing the ball back inside to Derek Fox. But once again, Bradford quite happy to keep turning the ball back inside.
So Oldham in possession, and no doubt one of the most interested spectators on the ground tonight is the Australian Bob Lindner, and he's with Mark Wallace now.
Bob, first of all, how is the knee?
Well, actually, it was very close to playing tonight, but we made a decision that another week wouldn't do us any harm, and so I'm very confident that I'll be out there next weekend.
You've watched your team now for 10 minutes. What's your impressions?
It's been a pretty good start. I've been fairly impressed with it. We've had a lot of the ball and causing Bradford North a lot of trouble at the moment, so far so good.
It's a pretty big start by both sides. Is it reminiscent of the State of Origin games?
Yeah, well, it might reach that pitch yet, we don't know, but as long as Oldham keep along the same track as they have done the last 10 minutes, we're looking pretty good.
Thanks very much, Bob.
And I don't think it's any coincidence, the fact that Lindner is on the sidelines and watching this, Steve-O, that Oldham are playing so well. They all know, particularly the pack, they're playing for their places.
Well, there's so many new players coming into it. I mean, the crowd don't really know what they're capable of, so really they're all on display. And he's made it quite clear as their coach, Peter Tunks, that he will select only players who want to play and play at their best. He won't just live on past reputations.
Gibson and Solomona. That's a neat pass to Tupaia. That's good work by Summers and John Hamer to bring him down. It's the last tackle for Oldham. The ball's with Gibson. Now it's with Topping, and he'll plant one over the top. He'll invite David Jones to have a run. It's a difficult bouncing ball. The ball's come free, but the referee's whistle sounds, and he has seen a knock-on. It was on the last tackle. Again, possession turns over.
Well, what on earth were they doing there? David Watson and the winger, Roger Simpson, he just seemed to allow that ball to bounce. Seemed an eternity there, and they were fortunate to get away with that. It squeezed its way through. But this is Bradford's big problem, getting through this eager defence from Oldham.
Oldham have made 5-4 in handling errors count. We've had 15.5 minutes. We await the first points of this Friday night big league match between Oldham and Bradford Northern here on Sky Sports. That's a good run from Medley. Paul Medley, 1988 British Lion tourist, over 100 tries now in his career. David Heron, ball back inside to Watson, turns it infield to Hamer. Hamer with support from Noble, and Noble scurries away. He's got McGowan. McGowan has Summers. Great play, Bradford. First try, Bradford Northern. They've soaked up the pressure and they've hit back in grand style. Neil Summers, his second of the season. Great stuff.
The old man of the pack, and for once playing down the middle, switching the ball back inside. The Oldham defence had come out wide. They forced the man inside. Watson it was. Then the quick ball. He saw the gap. Brian Noble really did make the sprint. McGowan in support took the tackle from the fullback Topping, and that is a great try. Well done by Summers. Good support play. Ball goes back inside. The dummy from Heron. Watson again. And then you'll see looming through. There's the gap. Fox just put up the arms. The gap opened. For once, the Oldham defence wasn't superb. But what great support play by the number 6, Neil Summers.
Neil Summers with the try, and after all that Oldham pressure, Bradford have struck back in the best possible mode. And Derek Fox just jogging back, because a couple of moments ago Fox turned the 4 into 6. So Bradford Northern hold the lead. It's Oldham 0, Bradford 6. Martin Strett restarts for Oldham. They'll be disappointed that they've surrendered that try, Mike.
Well, 2 tries disallowed. Not the best start for them. They really have taken full control, all the possession, putting Bradford on the rack, but it all gets down to that one simple equation. You take your chances and make sure that you put points on the board. And that's what Bradford have done.
Well, they've got a spring in their step now, have Northern. This is Steve McGowan. Remember, of course, not only are Oldham playing to impress their coach, all of Bradford Northern are as well, because Peter Fox's decision this week was to let all the players who are fit play in the opening 2 matches, and then he'll make his selections on form. So we have 26 players out there tonight, desperate to impress their respective coaches.
Couldn't agree more with you there, Eddie, and the mere fact that Bradford Northern can have 2 substitutes, both internationals, in Tony Marchant and Roy Powell. It's a long time since Bradford have had that much depth.
Goodway, one of the experienced hands that Oldham hope will steady the ship and keep them in the first division this season. Groves is another. Gibson to Solomona. Solomona invited Gibson to run onto that. That was a lovely ball inside to Martin Strett. He turns it back to Tapia, and Tapia is dumped to the ground by perhaps the smallest man on the field, Derek Fox. McAllister now. Big Charlie McAllister.
Oh, it's champagne stuff from Oldham. They may be trailing, but they really have set the light.
Dink ball forward. Watson waits, steps away from the challenge and dances through the tackles. Oh, great run from the Bradford fullback. And Bradford Northern have been told by their coach Peter Fox, Steve-O, to keep on switching the play. Keep changing direction. One way, this way, and then that.
Well, it certainly paid off, didn't it, for that first try? They were being forced to play down that middle because of that defence of Oldham going in very quick out wide. They were the tactics. They struggled early, but it's certainly paying off for them now.
And suddenly everyone on the Bradford Northern side wants that ball. Derek Fox has it at the moment. There's Paul Newlove, the 3rd most expensive player in rugby league history, in at dummy half, £250,000 worth of talent. David Hobbs, right-footed, dabs the ball downfield. Heslop's after it. Heslop collects. Can he get away from McGowan? No, not this time. That's good chasing downfield by Bradford Northern. Chasing down that hill, down the slope that I was telling you about at the start of this match. Pitch really does run away towards our cameras. And a forward pass ruled against Wally Gibson.
Well, Gibson looks confused, and rightly so. Pretty hard for the referee to pick that one. He was directly in front, 10 metres. Took a gamble in my book.
Bradford won't complain. They alter the direction of the attack. They come down the blind side with Heron. Roger Simpson's the man in at dummy half. Watson and Simpson again. Now John Hamer.
This is where Bradford are famous for doing a switch move.
Fox, there's the change of direction. And Medley on the charge, a diagonal run. They're inside the 10-metre mark with Hobbs. And now with Summers, who can't keep hold of it. But Kuwaiti can. And he says to Heslop, go on, have a run. But Newlove followed him all the way.
Well, if you want classy football, you're getting it tonight. We really are keeping this ball alive. Sensational stuff there. You can see Charlie McAllister just dragging that in and getting Heslop away.
Bradford 3rd last season. It was their best placing since they won the title in 1981. They're leading here by 6 points to 0, and they forced another error from Oldham. Simpson has it, but Goodway has Simpson by the collar and scrags him to the ground.
Beautiful pass there by Solomina.
Watson with the handoff, runs straight through the prop forward, Sherratt. And we have an injury. It looks like Darren Abram to me.
Well, Darren Abram, he took the ball off the prop forward Solomona. And quite frankly, I thought he copped a real good right hand. See on the replay, look at that. That looks like Newlove to me that was swinging with the right arm. And in my book, he made good contact. Now you can see the referee, he's in a good position. That was a real cruncher. He also went down head first. Someone just sort of coming in on the angle. But that looked quite high to me, Edward.
I don't think Darren Abram would disagree with your view, Steve-O. Here it is. Oh, he caught him.
Every picture tells the story.
He gets groggily to his feet, and I think he will take time out for a bit of a breather, and that means that Craig Richards can come in. Craig Richards, the former Bradford Northern player. And of course Richards making his debut against his former club. Lost his way a bit, did Craig Richards at Odsal, but now a chance to resurrect his career here at Watersheddings.
Well, that's amazing. That was a mile forward. It wasn't seen by the referee then.
And even though Abram has gone off the field, I don't recall seeing Mr. Ollerton have a word with Paul Newlove at all. And Newlove is going to take full advantage here, perhaps. He has the strength to go all the way. But the referee has counted that out as a double movement. And in fact has given the penalty.
What a great run, though. Shows the strength of the man. And perhaps if he would have just left it, the try would have been given. The momentum first took him over. It was that second action that got him penalised. There you see the momentum, and if it had stayed that way and made no movement, the ball was actually on the line. And when he just pushed out the left hand, the referee, no doubt, but to give the penalty. Well, Villain one moment, could well have been the hero there. That's what they paid all that money for him. He made a great break.
It was good defence by Oldham that kept him out eventually. Looked like he'd broken the line, and Topping was moving across quickly and managed to just put him off enough. This is Richards now, first touch against his former club. As I say, he lost his way a touch. He was runner-up to Dennis Betts in Young Player of the Year poll in 1991. Never really got his career off the ground. Here's a fellow who did, Andy Goodway. That's a lovely ball to Kuwaiti. Kuwaiti in field. This is Gibson. Gibson to Tapia. Heslop screaming for the ball out wide. Tapia clinging on. It's the last tackle, and the referee says it was David Heron who was trying to steal the ball as the ball was about to be played. It's penalty to Oldham.
And another penalty there. You can see, even though he just touched the ball, it's interfering with the man trying to play the ball. Doesn't matter how hard you touch it. Said a few words to the referee. This should be a gift now.
Because Martin Strett is going to have a shot at goal here from that penalty to try and get Oldham off the mark. 6-0, just 26.5 minutes gone. And Martin Strett, who really is a very, very useful kicker. In fact, he's an outstanding kicker. A former Oral Rugby Union star. Played mostly reserve grade rugby league last season, but he gained the confidence in the A-team. Managed 11 goals last season. Can he get his 1993-94 tally underway here? Straight and true, and Oldham are off the mark. Oldham 2, Bradford 6. Little to choose between those two sides, except that one try scored by Bradford Northern. This is the reason the penalty was given. There it was.
Yes, I mentioned just a touch, that's all it needed. It was a silly play there by Heron. Should have had more experience. Referee Ian Ollerton was actually stood at the side of him saying, let him play the ball. So what did he do? He did it right in front of the referee.
So it's Neil Summers' try that separates these two sides as Heslop has a run at the Bradford defence direct from the kickoff. Brought down by Heron. Now McAllister. Good tackling, Summers. Tapia now.
Oldham must be bitterly disappointed to made so many breaks, had 2 tries disallowed, only 2 points to show for all that effort. Still quite a few problems in this Bradford defence.
That's Ian Sherratt, the prop forward. Groves to Gibson, and it's back with Topping. Topping, who stayed away from Lee throughout last season because of contract dispute, didn't play at all, but that was a good kick downfield. It made Watson collect the ball in front of his own post, and by which time Gibson and Strett had arrived to close him down. Now Gerald Caudle. Good to see the big Welshman back in the big league after that broken jaw last season in the Welsh International against England.
Excellent play there by Caudle. That really does take the pressure off the forwards. When a three-quarter can run it out from your own line.
Oldham seeing more of the football, but Bradford have the 6 points to their 2. And that's a penalty. Richards moved in just a bit quickly and hauled Hamer down as he went to play the ball.
He can't believe it, but he did place the hand upon him. It looked to be milked. I'm sure it was milked. By the way, you're still not allowed to interfere. Crowd come to see open play, not that.
And the penalty didn't make too much ground for Bradford Northern. It just was sliced off the side of the boot, and so Bradford still in their own half of the field here. Fox to Hobbs. David Hobbs, who interested Wakefield Trinity in the summer, but decided to stay at Odsal. That's the penalty count. Oldham have had 6 and Bradford 3.
Well, surprising that Bradford haven't used the kicking game down into the corner, used the slope. Oh, that's an awful mistake there.
Referee says he'll take the first knock on, even though Kuwaiti couldn't get hold of it cleanly.
You could see John Hamer was more intent in trying to get that ball passed back inside rather than collect it cleanly. But getting back to that kicking game, it's surprising that Derek Fox hasn't utilised this big slope that you mentioned, Eddie.
Oldham are making a substitution. Shane Tapia is coming off, and David Bradbury is coming on for Oldham. Well, Bradbury will take his place in the second row, where he played last week against Widnes. He can play hooker, second row, loose forward and wing. It was foot up at the scrum, though, by Bradford hooker Brian Noble. Don't see that very often these days.
Well, that probably gives the age away of Brian Noble. He's been around quite some time. He was playing in the days when a hooker actually struck for the ball. There you can see. Tit for tat, really, though, isn't it?
Now Heslop, invited to have that run by Wally Gibson. Gibson, the man signed from Huddersfield, really is directing the traffic for Oldham. There he is again. And that's a great sidestepping run from Solomona. Solomona all the way for Oldham, under the posts. Great try from the big man. The crowd at Watersheddings go mad to celebrate that try, and Solomona charged onto that like a raging bull.
They call him tiny, but he isn't. He's strong. Look at the step there. He went round Noble. It was a poor attempt by Paul Medley. I thought perhaps he'd done the wrong thing, but he had enough strength. The stretch was there. That is a wonderful try. Ball goes out. Gibson, now look, the step there. Noble had committed himself far too early. Came out of the one line of defence. He had Groves on the inside. He didn't need him. Pretty hard for David Watson to stop a man with so much power. What a game that man's having.
Yes, the New Zealand international Tiny Solomona levels the scores, and Martin Strett from bang in front of the posts has this kick to give Oldham the lead. Side-footed, he slides the ball over the crossbar, and Oldham have a 2-point advantage.
It's all about one line of defence. There's Noble coming out. Look at this fella having a bit of a rest. And that's how the try came about. You've got to move up in one line. Look at the strength, though, here. Poor Watson had no chance. Great try.
So Oldham with that 2-point advantage, and less now than 7 minutes to half-time. Jim Quinn, the Oldham chairman, telling me last night he's desperate for his team to get off to a winning start here. He has big plans for this Watershedding stadium, and all they have to do, of course, is produce the team on the field. This is a rugby league town, Oldham, despite the fact that Oldham Athletic are in the FA Premiership, but it is a rugby league town through and through, and if they get a team on the field that is capable of matching the best, they will roll up here in their thousands, and they'll see people like Wally Gibson.
Well, if they play scintillating football like this, the crowds will roll up.
Stretch finds Kuwaiti.
This is super stuff. Keeping the ball alive. I haven't seen Oldham play like this for many a year.
Gibson now, topping. Hoists a high kick. It hangs in the breeze. Tester for Watson. Watson's up to the task. And great chasing.
Excellent example of a full-back. Keeping cool, holding the nerve, eyes on the football at all time.
Well, of course, Oldham doing all this without the services of their centre, Darren Abram, who is off after a challenge by Paul Newlove. And Wallow's got some news of him on the touchline. Mark?
Yeah, Darren Abram is now back on the bench. He's still feeling a little bit groggy. The doctor said to him he can come back on if he feels up to it himself.
Kick downfield from Fox. Was palmed into the air by Topping. And Paul Newlove makes his way to the bench for Bradford Northern. He has been replaced. Wonder if it's an injury. Tony Marchant has come on. So there's Tony Marchant replacing Paul Newlove, the £250,000 man.
What two great tackles on the trot from Paul Medley.
And the news of Newlove is that he has a cut on the top of his leg. This is a wonderful run though from Simpson. Oh, this is great run from Simpson. And he has the second rower, Paul Dixon, with him. Simpson there turned defence into attack. This is Fox. Now it's Marchant. Marchant just drops it. And David Bradbury picks up, and then Bradbury drops it. Well, the two substitutes making a total haulix of that. This is the prop forward now, Hamer. And Bradford are back in possession, and they're just 8 metres short of the posts. Hobbs, Noble.
Well, I wondered why they both went to sleep, Eddie. Horlicks.
It's Watson. Noble, the dummy half. Spreads the play to Derek Fox, who steps inside one, steps away from two, and it was desperate defence by the Oldham substitute, Dave Bradbury. Hobbs, not Hobbs, Heron tries to slide the ball across. There was surely a little fingertip there by the Bradford Northern player, and the referee agrees. He's pulled them back for the knock-on.
Oh, a nice little kick though from David Heron, ricocheted away, and Dixon just couldn't drag it in. Well, chances are going a begging here, but it's amazing. You've got to give this Bradford side the credit. They turn defence into attack so well.
And the referee penalised Bradford at the scrum. Someone said something out of turn, and so Bradford have been marched back towards their own line 10 metres.
That's a woeful mistake. Complete lack of professionalism. A chance for them to go into the break, taking the lead, perhaps scoring in those vital last 2 minutes, and saying something to the referee. Deary, deary me.
Well, Oldham are being given plenty of penalties by the referee. It's 9-3, and Peter Fox is in the dugout and shouting at his team just to settle down and not panic. But they have been under intense pressure, apart from that Neil Summers try, for much of this first half. And Gibson is the man who has engineered much of it. Topping runs round the back of Solomona. There's Peter Fox, an anxious man at this moment in time. Bradbury, the substitute. Coming up to half-time, Oldham ahead by 8 points to 6. Craig Richards on the charge, gets the ball away to Kuiti, and Kuiti just couldn't hold on. And Dixon comes up with possession for Bradford. Well, that's got to be a penalty against Dixon, surely. He played the ball to nobody and then pulled the Oldham man back as he went for it.
He played it. There was no one there. What on earth was the Bradford players doing? Dixon wanted to get on with the game and realised that there was no one there. Held the Kiwi back. Well, we've just seen 2 moments of madness from Bradford. A few seconds earlier, they were applying the pressure way down on the Oldham try line. Silly few words to the referee, allowed Oldham to get back into it, and then a silly mistake there again by Bradford. This should be another 2 points. They really have lost the plot, I'm afraid, Bradford.
So Martin Strett, 2 from 2, trying to maintain the 100% record with the kicking. You see the angle he has. And what an important 2 points this would be, right on the stroke of half-time. He's kicked it easily. 10-6, Oldham lead. But on the stroke of half-time, and what a boost that is to the men newly promoted from Division 2.
Just the start that they wanted, I'm sure. Their coach Peter Tunks wheeling and dealing all through the summer to bring some of the players that perhaps unwanted at other clubs. Well, haven't they done well? We thought that they would take time to knit into it. A pretty solid outfit. Well, on this showing, they've done it well.
Brave run from Heslop, met by Heron. And Heron and Heslop having a real old set to whenever Heslop cuts in field. And now Hobbs has hold of an Oldham player round the throat. And the referee blows the whistle. It's a head-high challenge. And the referee, Ian Ollerton, moving quickly to cool any tempers down.
Pretty solid challenge there, but trying to reef a man's head off his shoulders. Not part of the rules, as far as I know.
Topping did well there to hold on to the football.
Did well to hold on to his head.
So Oldham up the hill and running strongly with Richards.
Well, little doubt, Eddie, that the words from Peter Fox will be, you've got to get this defence sorted out. That man with the ball there, tiny Solomona, he really has ripped them apart.
That was a knock-on, though, by him, and the referee was quick to see it. He did drop it as he went to play it. But that was the last incident of this first half. Half-time here at Watersheddings. Solomona involved in that last moment, but Oldham, having gone 6-0 down, lead at the break by 10 points to 6, and what an encouraging opening 40 minutes to their home campaign in the big league this has been.
Seize the day.
You're watching Sky Sports. You know where the action is this autumn. Can you feel the force? The World Superbikes Championship. The Survivor Series. The year's top ATP events. Lewis versus Bruno.
Oh, he's got it to the right.
The fight Britain's been waiting for. Just a taste of things to come this autumn. Can you feel the force?
There now follows a party political broadcast.
Definitely a dry blackthorn day.
It's your round now. Mine, is it? Okay, I'll get them in. What are you having?
I'll have the same as him. There you go, John. There you go, John. That's very kind of you. But you can have this one back. I couldn't handle two.
But if you got a mind and you think for yourself, there's a paper just like you.
Say ooh, ah, Daily Star. Say ooh, ah, Daily Star. Say ooh, ah.
Now, here's something to whet your appetite. It's a cocktail of hits. First, stir in some of the greatest disco favorites from the 70s. Then add some hits like High Energy. Then blend in hits by the disco superstars like Gloria Gaynor, Billy Ocean, the Gibson Brothers, the 3 Degrees, John Travolta, and many, many more. Now take a pinch of soul. And finally, top it up with classic hits like this. And here it is, a cocktail of hits. 50 all-time disco and soul hits on 3 compact discs or 3 cassettes for just $29.99. Unbelievable value, and that even includes delivery to your door. Simply call this number now with your credit card details. And now for the big surprise. When you order your cocktail of hits, we'll give you 3 more CDs or cassettes with another 50 great disco and soul hits absolutely free. You better believe it. Call now for your cocktail of hits and get 3 more CDs or cassettes absolutely free.
Seize the day.
When is a player tackled? In this instance, a tackle is effected when the man in possession is held by an opposing player and the ball or hand or arm holding the ball come into contact with the ground. This player was penalised for deliberately passing the ball off the ground.
Well, conclusive proof here tonight that you don't have to have Wigan and Leeds and St Helens to produce a thrilling match. 2 of the unfashionable clubs in the big league, it must be said, but what a 40 minutes they have produced here at the Watersheddings. Tries from Solomona and Summers, and the goals from Stret and Fox. Oldham ahead by 10 points to 6, and what a match it is proving to be. Steve-O, rich in entertainment.
Unbelievable football. The crowds will come up and watch that any time. It's we said before the game started that perhaps Oldham would struggle because it would take time for their 10 new signings to get into it. Well, I tell you what, on this performance on the first 40 minutes, they really are going to pull off quite a few shocks in this season. That really was a tremendous first 40 minutes. They had most of the possession, to be fair, but Bradford were their worst enemies. Their defence is proving to be a little bit of a problem. I'm sure that Peter Fox has got more than a few words to say to them about that.
Well, we should, I suppose, remember that at half-time in the opening match of the season against Widnes last week, Bradford were behind at half-time. But they came back and they won quite easily second half. But Oldham looked to me to really have the bit between the teeth. They're ready for this, aren't they? They're up for it.
They certainly are. We mentioned before that we thought the reason why Peter Tunks had brought to the half-back position Wally Gibson was to try to just make sure that he took control of Derek Fox. Well, not only has he done that, to my opinion, he's taken control of the game, and that's one of the major reasons why Oldham have played so well. They've made so many breaks. He's been involved with, I would say, at least 8 or 9. And what a great game, the prop forward, Solomona. He really is a rampaging forward. Top quality talent, and it's been a cracking first 40. Let's hope for the same second half.
I'm sure we'll get it, but, you know, for Oldham, 10-6, it could easily, so easily have been, what, 16-6, even 22-6, because they had a couple of tries disallowed in that first half. This is the first incident when they thought they were over, but the referee had other ideas.
Yeah, well, it was good play by the fullback, Watson. He got underneath the little halfback, Gibson, but he just jolted him enough to let that ball release. Good position also by Ollerton, the referee.
This is the second time where they fed the ball out wide, and it was Abram, now off the field, of course, after a high challenge. And that was a forward pass, said the referee, and so David Jones, no try.
Well, I have to agree with the referee on this occasion that perhaps was a forward pass. I thought he's missed quite a few and given quite a few that didn't look that way. But it's evening itself out. He has taken a good control of the game. And the thing that I like about it is the fact that he is getting the defence back at the 10. And that's probably why we are getting good open football, especially from Oldham anyway.
I think you're obviously impressed with Oldham, but it was Bradford Northern who took the lead. They'd soaked up all that pressure, and then they snapped from defence to attack, and it was the try from Neil Summers.
Yeah, it's good play. They're a talented side, and we mentioned during the course of the first half that you have to take your chances. They love to keep the ball back inside, keep it moving, try to bring that defence out. You can see that the Oldham defence is at 6s and 7s. Hamer gets the ball inside, and look at this man go. Veteran now in the Premiership, but really, he really goes for it, doesn't he? McGowan on hand. Beautiful play by the centre McGowan. You see how he just brought in the fullback Paul Topping, made sure that he committed him for the tackle, and that man in support. That was an excellent try.
But Oldham hit back, and it was a terrific run from Solomona, wasn't it? He did this all summer against the Aussies.
Yeah, he's a pretty strong guy. They call him tiny, and he's massive, isn't he? But once again, the problem all came about by the fact that Bradford's defence came up, committed themselves, the gap. And we showed on the replay, there you see it, a player having a bit of a rest at the back. You've got to get your line in quick, otherwise this is what happens.
They're playing on not only honest endeavour and honest spirit and a lot of guts, Oldham, but they're playing with no considerable amount of skill.
Mainly put down to the fact that they're getting the ball out wide. The forwards are doing their work, but they're not doing it for 4 or 5 tackles. They're doing 2 runs, and then Gibson is taking control, is offering the link out wide, and it's surprising me to think that Bradford are allowing Oldham 4, 5 passes before they're making any contact in the defensive pattern. You've got to get up quicker than that.
Well, we enjoy bringing you the Wigans and Leeds. Indeed, at this time next week, that's exactly what we shall be doing. We'll be at Central Park for Wigan against Leeds. But when we have Oldham and Bradford, perhaps 2 unfashionable clubs to a lot of people, but don't tell that to the people here, don't tell that to the coaches. This is a tremendous match. Oldham ahead by 10 points to 6, and can they hang on in the second half? You can find out. We'll bring you every minute of that second 40 right after these.
Seize the day.
You're watching Sky Sports.
Remember those sexy soul classics from the 60s and 70s? And the moody sounds from more recent soul artists like Natalie Cole and Sade. Get into the mood by listening to Body Talk, the new collection of original soul hits, brought to you for the first time by mail from Sounds Direct. Body Talk has 60 all-time classics, every one a hit. It gives you the choice of the world's finest soul singers. Body Talk features the sexy voices of Billy Paul and Joan Armatrading, and those soft, romantic songs like Randy Crawford's One Day I'll Fly Away and Suddenly by Billy Ocean. Body Talk also features Marvin Gaye, Gloria Estefan, Luther Vandross, Barry White, the Pasadenas, Aretha Franklin, and many more. This collection of 60 very special soul hits cannot be found in any shops. It is available on 4 CDs for only $29.99 or 4 cassettes for only $25.99. Call this number now. Body Talk from Sounds Direct. Sounds you can't afford to miss.
Battle Warrington at Headingley. Sunday at 7 on Sky Sports.
Seize the day.
So half-time it is here at Watersheddings, and Oldham ahead by 10 points to 6. And it has been an outstanding first 40 minutes here at home for the Roughheads. Bradford Northern up against it second half, but they came out second half against Widnes last Sunday and won the match. Team tackles really reflect the amount of possession that Oldham have had. Bradford have had to work overtime to keep them out. Scrums have gone Bradford's way, 4-3. The penalties, well, Oldham are getting a lot of penalties from this referee, and that's the understatement of the day so far. 11-3 on the penalty count. Handling errors, both sides forcing the pace a little and paying the penalty. And the first half possession, as you can see, Oldham 58% to Bradford's 42%. And a warm welcome back onto the field for the Oldham players as we watch as Bradford Northern troop out. They were expecting somewhere tonight in the region of 5,000 or 6,000 for this opening fixture of the season, and Tiny Solomona really has set them alight in that first half with that try. Sia Solomona, to give him his correct name. He's known as Tiny, and Tiny it will be on the big league as far as Steve-O and I are concerned. So it's going to be Martin Strett who will get this second 40 minutes underway, and this time Oldham will be playing with that slope advantage. Strett was bursting at the seams last night to play in this match, was given the vote by Peter Tunks, gets the game underway second half. Big 40 minutes for both sides, Steve-O.
Very important, this first 10 minutes in the second half. Bradford, of course, no doubt they've got to work hard, use their forwards, grind their way through it. They've got the talent, they know that they've got the experience, they know that they have perhaps the better side, but they have to get themselves organised. Oldham, of course, they're quite happy to just control the pace, and I'm sure that they will use the kick far more intelligently than what Bradford did in the first half.
Trying to spread the ball out wide immediately. Roger Simpson dumped to the ground by the second rower Andy Goodway. 40 minutes then coming up of the roughest and toughest, most physically demanding team sport in the world here on Sky Sports, and being played at breakneck speed by Oldham and Bradford. David Jones being pulled down by the hooker Brian Noble. Groves at dummy half, but Bradford pinned for offside at the play of the ball. They must stand back a full 10 yards.
Yes, a loose forward there, David Heron, taking quite 2 steps forward in front of the referee, quite clearly on that replay.
And Bradford really must stop conceding these penalties. That's 12 they have conceded to Oldham, and they have received only 3.
They're becoming their worst enemy.
David Jones was stopped in mid-air by Dixon and Hamer. Groves to Gibson, to the big prop forward Sherratt. Groves again, now Gibson once more. Solomon was on the decoy run. This is Bradbury trying to step through the challenge. Still Oldham roll forward. Gibson to Martin Strett. Strett dabs it forward, goes for it himself. Support arrives. The support is there from Bradbury. And Bradbury is not touched down. He's held up on his back over the line by desperate Bradford defence.
Oh, beautiful play by Martin Strett. Kept the ball alive, and Bradbury here tried to get through. Good play there by Hobbs. Had to be underneath it to prevent that. Well, that's the 3rd try that's been disallowed for the Oldham side. But the man that's feeding the scrums, Wally Gibson, he's running the show here. He's mesmerising this Bradford defence.
That's the second occasion that Oldham have been held up over the Bradford try line. Here's Craig Richards. Who wants to do better than Richards? No one. What a try from the Bradford Northern reject. Craig Richards who's come here to resurrect his career at Oldham, gets Oldham's second half off to the best possible start.
When you play against your former club, there's nothing better than scoring a try. But oh dearie me, the defence, they didn't want to go for him. First one going through, let's not take anything away from the substitute Richards. It was a strong run. But after he's gone through the first tackle, two went high, no one went low. He's a big fellow. First one, try to go low, then the two go high. You waste your time with big players like this. They're far too strong, and that's a well-deserved four-pointer.
And a lovely moment for Craig Richards. 72 games while at Odsal, but 35 of them as a substitute. Really did lose his way a little bit at Odsal. The former under-21 international, the runner-up to Dennis Betts in the Young Player of the Year poll in 1991. And he's hoping now, as I said, to resurrect a promising career right here at Watersheddings under Peter Tunks. He's only 23. Martin Strett, 3 from 3. This perhaps the most difficult of the 4 kicks he's had. He's hit the post, just inches away. But Oldham 14, Bradford Northern 6, and Northern now with it all to do.
Notice how the Bradford, 2 players come at 1 man. If that's the case, you've got to make sure you tackle him. 2 on 1, they don't. They come again, it's not enough, they went high. 4 points. Thank you very much.
So Bradford Northern up against it in a big way. 14-6 they trail, and Roy Powell has come on. Let's go downstairs and pick up news from the touchline. Mark Wallace.
Yeah, the news at half-time in the Oldham dressing room. Peter Tunks has said to his team to forget all the mistakes they've made and start spinning the ball out to the wingers and give it out to the backs. In the Bradford dressing room, Peter Fox has said more effort in the forwards, stop panicking in Oldham's half and to get their tackles in.
Forward pass is the referee's decision. So it's a scrum down.
Bad mistake there from the Oldham side, trying to get the ball out from within their own quarter. A few occasions that Bradford really have applied pressure. Remember, their try came from a long run from within their own half.
Simpson with the run for Bradford. Marchant to David Watson. Marchant takes the return. Richards and Bradbury, the 2 substitutes, managed to halt Marchant's progress eventually. Fox turns the ball back inside to Medley. Medley clattered to the floor. That was Ian Sherrod. This is Derek Fox. Fox will be stung into action perhaps by that Craig Richards try. He's still running forward. It was a good job that Wally Gibson was there hanging on to him. These are big moments for Bradford. Big moments too for the Oldham defence. McGowan on the charge. Last tackle for Bradford. They're right in front of the post now with Hobbs. Slides the kick across. But straight into the arms of Goodway. And the experience of Andy Goodway there. He was waiting to pounce on that kick as it came across from David Hobbs.
Yes, good positioning there in defence. Perhaps not the best of kicks from Hobbs, though. They've tried that little kick just to grub her through. Perhaps they may be best served with a little bit more option, perhaps given a little bit of air.
Good scuttling run from Bradbury. He's been impressive since he has entered the fray here. And so is the prop forward, Ian Sherrod. Groves long pass back to Topping. Oh, Topping's in trouble. And that's great chasing by Watson and also by Medley.
Well, that's better defence, isn't it? Get right on top, put the pressure on the man.
Oh, but Heron drops it immediately and surrenders the possession back. And Bradbury again, the man who comes up with it. That was forward. That was well forward. Gibson has been caught a few times tonight with a forward pass, and he's been pinned again by referee Ollerton.
Well, he does delay the ball, doesn't he? But no doubt about that one. You could see that the big substitute was just in front. Should have kept hold of it. Bradford lucky to get second bite of the cherry.
Oldham thought they had one against the head. Gibson was off, but the referee unhappy the way the scrum had formed. Wants Fox to put it back in again. And there's a bit of a schmozzle there in the front row. And David Hobbs was spotted. I think the phrase is Glasgow kissing.
Well, he saw the smile on the hooker, Paul Groves. The Oldham rake had a grin a mile wide. He's saying a lot of things to him, and there it goes back. Retaliator so often is a man that gets penalised, and was on that occasion.
David Hobbs penalised against one of his former clubs. David Hobbs, an ex-Oldham man. Now Solomona again. He will always run strongly from deep positions. Groves to Richards.
Well, it's at this time that Bradford now have to dig deep. Call upon the skills of Derek Fox, Neil Summers. They have got to get the show on the move.
Many people's dark horses for the title, Bradford Northern, but it's Oldham who are charging forward now with Bradbury. He dinks away from Medley. What a good man to have on the bench is David Bradbury. Streck now to Solomona. The short ball to McAllister. McAllister felled as he reached that one by David Hobbs. Last tackle, and it's Gibson with an attempted drop goal. That broke off a Bradford player, and Caudle has it back for Northern.
Good option there, opting for the 1 point. Ricocheted away, anything can happen, but look at the defence. That's the difference between the two sides. They went for that ball, that means everyone's onside.
10 minutes of this second half gone, and Oldham have been penalised, I think, for moving inside the 10-metre mark at the play the ball, and the referee now has held the clock up and wants a word with both Caudle and Heslop. Obviously there's a duel going on between the Welshman and the Englishman, two converts from rugby union, and of course there's no love lost between England and Wales in that particular code. (14-6) Oldham ahead. Are we on for the shock of this second weekend of the Stonesbitter Championship?
Well, we were expecting so much from this Bradford outfit, especially when they splashed out £245,000 for one of the best centres in the world, Paul Newlove, in my book. But they're struggling now, I'm afraid.
And Newlove, of course, is off the field. He is still on the bench, on the touchline, with that cut to the top of his leg. And Caudle was lucky to get away with that, but referee Ollerton's pulled him back for the knock-on.
Well, it bounced high off the centre, McGowan. There's a long ball there, you can see it. Referee deemed that the ball did actually bounce forward once it came away from him. But yet again, another mistakes.
And Bradford, they get possession from that scrum. That's one against the head for Northern. So they thought they'd be defending, now they are attacking with Marchant. Fox to Hobbs. Oh, that was up round Medley's neck, he couldn't keep hold of that. And it's all going frightfully wrong for Bradford Northern at the moment.
Not the best attempt, not the best pass either. They are just panicking. They realise that the minutes are ticking away. This game escaping away from them.
Nigel Heslop.
He's played his part. and a lot of work.
Good way at dummy half, Gibson to Craig Richards. Groves at dummy half. Gibson. Back to Summers. Solomona on the charge again. The news of Paul Newlove, incidentally, is he will not return tonight. The injury is too serious. Meanwhile, Groves finds Kuwaiti. Kuwaiti tries to keep the ball alive, and it bounces back for David Heron to snuff the danger out. But Bradford Northern, Mike, are on the rack.
Well, their defence is just shot to pieces. Some wonderful play, though, by Oldham. They're keeping this ball alive, and Solomona, he's having a field day.
53.5 minutes gone here at Watersheddings, 14-6. Oldham, fresh out of the second division, lead Bradford Northern, who finished third in the table last season and who had high hopes of being one of the sides to lead the charge from Yorkshire. They still might. There's a long way to go yet, but that was a wonderful ankle tap. I think it was by Wally Gibson.
It was, and it had to be, because he was well away.
Bradford suddenly are on the roll with Marchant. It bounces back off the head of Jones. It's play on. It's Summers. Second try, Summers. Bradford have snapped back. Oh, don't take your eyes off this one. Neil Summers. 2 tries tonight for him. The standoff in exactly the right place at the right time.
It all came about from the long run from McGowan. The fullback Watson came through. Fox, the long ball out wide, and the substitute, Tony Marchant, back out. It bounces away. Lady Luck shined upon them, and Summers in for the second try. Oh, that's cruel luck. This is the run that brought it about. The missed tackle there by Craig Richards, and it was just the ankle tap. Just gets to him there. But it was from that position that this try came away. The kick down, it bounced off an Oldham player's head. Lady Luck really shining on Bradford, but they won't mind. They're back in this.
Back in it with a vengeance. The big contingent from across the Pennines cheering the conversion by Derek Fox. And so, after a quarter of an hour of this second half, we have a match and a half. Oldham 14, Bradford Northern 12.
Well, we said that Bradford had to dig deep, look upon their experience and their stars, and it certainly came about then. Okay, we mentioned that Lady Luck was with them. You have to make your own luck sometimes in this game, but that really was all brought about by that great run by the centre, Steve McGowan.
This now is John Hamer, and Bradford suddenly have a little, it's Paul Medley rather. They do look so alike, Hamer and Medley. That was Medley. But Bradford now suddenly do have a little bit more enthusiasm running through the side. Only 2 points in it, a long, long way to go. And we have a contest once again on Friday night's Big League here on Sky. Powell with the run, a rumbustious run from the substitute. Now little mistakes and little niggles are coming into the Oldham play.
Well, you can see there the hooker Paul Groves just lashing there, grabbing the foot of the substitute Powell. Obviously Powell brought on for a specific reason by their coach Peter Fox to stiffen that defence.
Here's Powell. And then that is Brian Noble running straight at Paul Groves. Fox to Dixon.
Bradford now only 2 points adrift, really have to go through the basics.
Hobbs, that's a good ball to Medley. And it was a good tackle that came in. And it had to be from Andy Goodway. This is Powell, was that forward? Referee shakes his head, says no. Play on, it's the last tackle. Bradford turning the screw here with Watson. Long pass out to Marchant. Marchant heading for the corner, keeps the ball alive to Dixon, and Dixon just backhands it into touch. It'll be the turnover. What a great game.
Oh, what great defence. They really tried there. You could see Solomona not only good in attack, that was a bruising tackle on Dixon. What a cracker.
Wonderful defence now from Bradford. They suddenly have got a belief in themselves. The ball's come free to McGowan! McGowan! The referee checks, and the referee gives the try. Steve McGowan, last season's leading scorer, he's come up with another 4 points here.
Oh, dearie me. The boy who's had a great game, Wally Gibson, released the ball, tried to be too fancy in front of his own post, and pays the price. Should have had this ball held there, should never attempted to try to get the ball out wide, right in front of the post, and was severely punished.
Steve McGowan scored it. David Heron, really, with all the pressure on Wally Gibson, created it and created the opportunity for him. And Derek Fox, from just to the right of the upright, turns the 4 into 6. And Bradford Northern now are in the box seat.
You never hold the ball with one hand when you're in front of your posts. Possession is vital. It slips clear, and the centre takes the 4 points on offer. A bad mistake by Oldham. Oh, how this game can be so cruel.
2 tries in 3 minutes for Bradford Northern has turned this match upside down. Oldham 14, Bradford Northern 18. And I rather fancy a man who is watching with a bit larger smile on his face now is the Bradford Northern assistant coach, Nigel Stevenson, who's with Mark Wallace.
Nigel, it looks like your boys are coming back into it now.
Well, we've been under the cosh, to be honest, for 60 minutes of the game, and we've just had a couple of strokes of good fortune with both tries, but I'm sure now with the introduction of Roy Powell at half-time, we've got a little bit more forward zest, and I think we'll start moving forward a lot better as we are doing now.
We're hearing various reports on Paul Newlove. What is the situation there?
Well, it's a bit of a groin strain. We didn't want to risk him. I don't think it'll be too serious, but if he'd have carried on, he might have done more damage.
I see you whining the boys when you went out there. Do you think they'll respond to it?
Well, Oldham's really played very well tonight. They've got among us, they've made us panic. We've played one-out football, but Derek Fox and David are just getting a slight grip on the game at this moment.
Thanks very much.
It was Derek Fox's kick downfield that was wheeled in by David Jones. Goodway, the dummy half. Oldham must not panic. And this is an abject lesson to everybody. Bradford Northern looked on the ropes and out of it. And those 2 tries in 3 minutes, suddenly Bradford Northern now are the favourites to go on and win this. They look the stronger.
Well, they're beginning to look that way, aren't they? Their confidence is lifting. This is where the pressure now is certainly on Oldham. They've got to go back into that basic principle and play the attractive football that got them in the lead. They really have got to keep trying it.
They've got to dig deep in their resilience now. That kick downfield carried by the wind from Topping, but wheeled in by Roger Simpson, who gets away from Gibson. And possession in the second half, it's suddenly turned Bradford's way, hasn't it?
A little bit more zip from Bradford, obviously. A little bit of luck can just help you. It's important, though, that Oldham just forget about that. Don't get their heads down and say, oh, well, Lady Luck's against us.
Marchant was on his knees a moment ago and calling for attention from the bench. He now is off his knees with a vengeance and charging forward. This is Hobbs. Round the neck of Heron. And Heron suddenly, as Nigel Stevenson said, has stepped up a gear with Derek Fox, and Bradford look a different side.
It's amazing, isn't it, what 10 minutes can change this game. 10 minutes ago, those passes would have been dropped high for the Bradford outfit, but now they're sticking.
Peter Fox, the Bradford coach, made the change. Clipped over the top by Derek Fox, an awkward bouncing ball. Summers was there, but Topping does brilliantly.
Well, it's a trademark of Derek Fox, isn't he? He looks to kick towards the touch, but in effect drags it back in front of the post. But that really was good play by Paul Topping. He's had a sound game for Oldham.
Here comes Kuwaiti. Time now for the captain to restore order for Oldham. Groves gives it to Sherratt. Sherratt steps away from the tackle of Derek Fox, but not from David Heron. How on earth David Heron keeps going? He's 35 years old, but he looks as one of the youngsters on the field the way he's playing at the minute. And that little knock-on was by David Jones.
Paul Groves trying the long ball out wide. Jones, the winger, just not able to bend down for it. The pendulum swinging towards Bradford. Now it's Oldham that's panicking.
13-12, handling errors. Oldham have made one more. And Bradford have that possession from the scrum with Derek Fox. Martin Strett all over him. Fox plays the ball quickly to Watson. Holds the ball up to Summers. Summers heading for the corner. Topping's after him. He's missed him. And Summers is just held up as he went for the hat-trick by Nigel Heslop. They're still there though, Bradford. And Caudle's hauled back. Summers to Watson. They're screaming for the ball out wide this way. Simpson.
Super football there, Eddie. Lovely little pass there that sent Summers through.
Now Fox to Hobbs. Hobbs comes infield. Looks to try and get the ball away. Couldn't do so because of Kuwaiti, who hangs on to him. That was dangerous. The referee might have penalised him. Allows play to go on. Heron out wide to Summers. Summers. Grounded. Heslop doing sterling work in defence. Watson. This is the last tackle. McGowan collects it. Releases the pass to Noble. A stern examination now of this Oldham defence. The ball laid out wide, but there's a boot to it by Jones, and Jones was bundled off the ball by Simpson. There's no doubt in my mind, and the referee agrees, it's going to be a sin bin for Simpson. Simpson sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes.
Professional foul. The ball was kicked through. Jones was well on his way. There you can see. Simpson just put him to ground.
So Roger Simpson takes 10 minutes. Bradford Northern then down now to 12 men, and Oldham quickly onto it, but too quickly. The pass from Kuwaiti was forward to Richards.
Well, they've done that quite a lot tonight. They've held the ball at the last moment. This is the replay of the kick through. Just pushed away there. Now, if he used his shoulder, running in the same direction, that is allowed. But he used his hand and pushed him. That's a penalty.
Oldham have made a late change. They have brought Shane Tupaia back, and Ian Sherratt is the man who has gone off. And that's a mistake by Noble, but the referee says it bounced off his ankle and lets him play on. And it didn't touch his hand, Steve-O, did it?
Rightly so. And good play by Ollerton there. He looked towards his touch judge. He obviously was unsighted. Nice to see them both working together.
Remember, Bradford down to 12 men. Roger Simpson in the sin bin. We're in the last tackle. And on my watch, 27 minutes of this second half gone. And Bradford Northern with their noses in front just. But here goes Gibson. What a run from Gibson. Just didn't have the support. Summers the man who closed him down. Goodway. Strett. Goodway again. Goodway using all that experience, giving it to Gibson. Now Kuwaiti. Kuwaiti gets away from Powell, keeps the ball alive to Strett. He finds Richards. Richards still going strong. Up into Bradbury's arms. Still Bradbury going forward. What a great attack by Oldham. Down the hill here at Watersheddings. Bradford, 12 men are stretched. Groves to Topping. Good defence. That's how close Oldham are. Groves. And again Groves. On his own, Paul Groves. Ball inside Richards. Oh, what a dream for Craig Richards. His second try against his former club. And Craig Richards has come up with the 4 points for Oldham.
What a great fight back, and what a great try. The run around. Groves, he threw the dummy, but the support play was there. And where was the defence again? Craig Richards savours the second try. The simple, basic run around. The defence held off. There was no one to be there. Fox couldn't get to him. What a game this has been. Heroes, villains at times. And a try like this. Defence split. Great try.
Craig Richards on his debut. The man that was brought to Oldham by Peter Tunks from the Odsal Stadium. His try has levelled up the scores. And now Martin Strett from right in front of the posts with a 3 from 4 attempt record can give Oldham the lead again. Strett with the conversion, Strett with the 2 points. Oldham go back in front. We've had 10 minutes. We've got 10 minutes left for play. Unfashionable they might be. This is magnificent.
Here you see Groves, a run around, it pulls into defence. That's the gap, and that is where the 4 points are scored. The defence is shot to ribbons.
So, 10 minutes to go. 2 points, the difference. David Jones on the run. Watson has moved up the fullback because Neil Summers now is the last line of the Bradford Northern defence.
Well, it's the last throw of the dice by their coach Peter Fox. Watson, a great jinker, nice sidestepper, an explosive player. Obviously needs him up there to try to pull something out of the hat.
Craig Richards in possession now for Oldham. Oh, he gets the ball away, tries to keep it alive. That was risky business. It just came off for him. Oh, Richards will be breathing a sigh of relief. He never scored 2 tries in the match for Bradford in his entire career, and he's managed it here tonight for Oldham on his debut. This is David Jones. They keep the ball alive again. Groves and a scampering run over the top. Nigel Heslop again over the top, and they couldn't hold on that time. Gibson looked for it, but he knocked it on under pressure from Roy Powell.
Well, it should never come the pass from Heslop. As much as we've praised Oldham for this wonderful display of open rugby league football, there are times when you just have to hold that ball. Possession becomes vital.
Oldham thought they had one against the head. The ball never entered the scrum, though. It bounced off the prop forward's legs. Shane Tapia.
And I suppose that did.
Summers chimes in, now playing full back. Watson has moved up. There's Watson from dummy half. A game rich in entertainment. A thriller at the Watersheddings. 2 points in it. And we are in the 32nd minute of this second half. Just 8 to go. 2 points adrift. Oldham 20. Bradford 18. Bradford in possession with Hobbs.
Bradford playing catch-up football. They've got to try things. They've got to keep it alive. Oldham don't have to. They've got that important lead.
Tell you what, Mike, this is the second match of the big league season on a Friday night. We won't get many better than this all season.
It has been a cracker. It's had everything.
I think you can guarantee we'll get fireworks 7 days' time. We're at Wigan against Leeds. A meeting of two of the really big names in rugby league, Wigan and Leeds. But they won't serve up much better entertainment than this. Wigan Leeds next Friday, live and exclusive on the big league on Sky Sports next Friday. But Oldham and Bradford have served us up with a real treat here.
Well, I'm sure the word would have gone out from their coach, Peter Tunks, to Oldham players. Play it nice and cool, don't do anything silly. Play it out with the forwards and then let's get out of here. Let's get the boot down into that far corner. Get the kick and chase game working.
Gibson under pressure finds his fullback Topping. Topping hacks the ball ahead. And it bounced off a Bradford player. So the Oldham man who dropped on it, it was Topping in the end, but it touched an Oldham leg and he wasn't offside.
Well, for the first time perhaps Lady Luck come off it. Look at this. That really is. That's the third time that Topping has been caught by that. I can't understand the tactics where the ball first goes to Gibson and then he's passed back to the full-back. Why not the first pass in the first place?
Two sides who are working very hard for the winning money and the 2 points. Good way on the break for Oldham. Keeps the ball alive to Gibson. Back to Bradbury. Bradbury through one, almost through two, and then brought to ground. Hobbs and Marchant doing the defensive duties. Groves the dummy half. Gibson to Stret. Stret to Solomona. Solomona to his captain Kuiti, and they kept the ball alive from totally the wrong place there. The man was tackled, he was on the floor.
Well, a prop forward, Solomona, there you can see. It's our rule of the week that you saw at half-time. The arm or the ball touches, makes contact with the ground. As I mentioned earlier, really, this is one reason why I feel that coaches go bald or go grey very early and very quickly. They should really have kept on to that football.
There's one flaw in that argument, Steve-O. You are neither a coach, but you are bald and you are grey. Simpson's getting ready to return to the fray. We have less than 5 minutes to go. Bradford still down to 12 men. There is Simpson waiting for the clock to tick away. We have less than 5 to go. Bradford trailed by 2 points.
Well, I said it before, it's a cruel game. I didn't think I'd get it from you.
This is Fox. Fox to the second rower. Paul Dixon, who's had a quiet game here for Bradford. Fox to Heron. Tries to get the ball away to McGowan, who couldn't hang on, and Oldham have it back in the shape of Shane Tapia.
Well, you can't blame Bradford for trying to keep this ball alive. They know they're up against it. You've got to try everything.
A man living on his nerves, Peter Tunks. Perhaps proving Steve-O's theory that he is a little bit thin on top, and he has got 1 or 2 grey hairs too.
He won't worry about that now. He realises he's in the box seat. This has really been a tremendous performance by Oldham.
And no more so than that man, Craig Richards, who's passed to ground on that time and did go, I'm afraid, to ground. And Heslop, in the end, loses the ball as well.
Well, talk about putting pressure upon yourself, when really all they had to do was just play the tackles out and get the ball downfield.
Oh, come on, sir!
And Oldham want to bring Ian Sherratt on, but meanwhile the referee has penalised Bradford for stealing the ball here. The touch judge apparently, Steve-O, says that Paul Dixon there stole the ball from Heslop when Heslop had it safely under control.
Well, you could see quite clearly that there was an interference at that. But nerves really are jingling here, the water sheddings. This really has been an exciting game.
And the Oldham hero, with 3 minutes to go, Craig Richards, who scored 2 tries here tonight in his debut, takes a breather, and Sherratt eventually gets on. Now this is Kuwaiti, the Oldham captain. 2.5 to go. 2 minutes, 2 points the difference. 2.5 minutes separating Oldham from a really famous win here. Gibson to Bradbury to Strett. Martin Strett to Heslop.
Well, I've been impressed with the two rugby union converts, Martin Strett and Nigel Heslop. They've done their part in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game from Oldham.
Charlie McAllister picks himself up. Groves goes into dummy half. Gibson to Solomona. Back to Gibson. Oh, he's cocked it up to Watson. It's a race now. Gibson almost has him. Watson, can it be Kuwaiti? Oh, this is drama. And Watson has perhaps rescued this match for Bradford. The pass inside was careless. Watson, the Kiwi, read it perfectly. And then Watson won the race to the posts. The final twist in the tail, perhaps, has David Watson won this match for Bradford.
Take a bow, Peter Fox, the Bradford coach. He moved Watson from the fullback position into the central line of attack, and it's paid off handsomely indeed. Oldham paid the price for being too clever, too late in the game. Despair there for all concerned with the Oldham side. Gibson tried in vain. He just stepped at the right moment, did Watson. Slowed down and accelerated. Kuwaiti tried. So did Jones, but to no avail.
And Bradford Northern celebrate, and David Watson will celebrate his second try of the season. The man who tormented the Aussies for the Kiwis during the summer has perhaps won the 2 points here for Bradford Northern. Into the last minute, Derek Fox is receiving treatment, so David Hobbs will move up to take this conversion attempt. Derek Fox got a bang in the face. Hobbs from bang in front, and he's in no hurry to take this conversion attempt. The referee has called the clock to stop, so time might be ebbing away, but it isn't ebbing away on the clock. But for Wally Gibson, absolute devastation here. Referee says, let the seconds tick away. Hobbs adds the extra 2, and Bradford Northern now edge ahead by 4 points, and we're in time added on 4 stoppages.
Well, they say that only the brave are rewarded, and I'm afraid that it didn't work out that time. Oldham trying to be too fancy, trying to run around, trying to play open football right to the end. They've paid the price, and that is a shame.
But they've come up with the ball from the kickoff. Is this the last roll of the dice from them? Bradbury, who's run so strongly since he came on, but surely Bradford now will tackle for all their worth.
Is there another twist to this tale?
Goodway was the man who was moving up for the pass in field. This now is Groves. He is Kuwaiti. Long pass to Strett. Strett out wide to David Jones. Jones keeps the ball alive. Finds Tapia. Well, what a finish it would be if Oldham snatched victory from here. Kuwaiti turning, keeping the ball alive. Gibson in field to Strett. They're not packing in, Oldham. Here's Sherratt, the big prop forward. They're 10 metres from the line. There is the hooter. The referee has blown the whistle. The match is over, and David Watson's try in the last seconds of this pulsating big league match has won the day for Bradford Northern. Tiny Solomon as anyone. But what a match this has been. A game rich in entertainment from first whistle to last. Oldham, they will curse their luck, but Bradford, they maintain their unbeaten start to the season, coming back again from a deficit at half-time to claim both points. Quite magnificent.
Seize the day.